Hey guys, Smart Sports here. So for today's video, I will be ranking about 40 NFL quarterbacks. These guys are either starters or backups. Categories are elite, franchise quarterback, above average, average, bridge QB, future starter, and backup. And let's get started with Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow has done very well. I don't think he's quite in the elite category. That's like the best of the best, but still a franchise quarterback. So next is Daniel Jones, and I'll say he's average. I mean, this year he's been doing a little bit better, but I'm not overly impressed by him. I mean, he's not awful with like the right weapons and good coaching. Like this year, he can do okay, but not really a guy you would want. Next is Andy Dalton, and I'll call him a bridge QB. Really, he can have like a few flashes. I mean, he can do good for like a stretch of time, but it's not really good enough to hold down a starting job. Next, I believe it says Davis Mills. He's a backup. He's just not good. Next is Jacoby Brissett. I think he's also in the Andy Dalton tier. He he can like play like a few good games. I mean, he's a little bit better than just like a backup, but still not amazing. So next is Aaron Rodgers. At this time, it's not career. I'll put him in the above average category. He's definitely declined some. He, with like a lot of weapons like around him, he can be a good QB. So next we have Baker Mayfield, who I'll put in the average category. He can play pretty well with like the right stuff around, right situation around him. But if he is in a bad situation, then often he throws a lot of picks. He is like a gunslinger quarterback, and when things don't work out for him, it's just not pretty. So next is Carson Wentz. I think he's pretty similar to Baker, a gunslinger, and sometimes struggles with interceptions, but actually can do pretty well at times. So I think he's like in the upper category of average, almost above average, but not quite. Next is Derek Carr. I'll put him in the above average category. He is he's pretty good. He can have like 30 touchdown seasons, but a lot of times like in the crunch time, he just usually does not get the win. Nothing against him, just not quite a franchise quarterback, but still a very good player. Next we have Drew Lock. Put him in the backup category. Be a little bit better than Davis Mills, but just have not seen that much from him. Just has been pretty disappointing. So next is Deshaun Watson, and I'll put him in the above average category. Before his sexual assault stuff, he was definitely a franchise QB, but since then he has not really been amazing. I'm not put that against him, but I think he's an above average quarterback. Not quite a franchise guy. So next is Gardner Minshew. He has played well in the limited time. Has not really had consistent starting time. So I'll put him in the bridge QB category. Can play, have a few great games. I mean, this will change if he gets consistent starting time. So next is Geno Smith. I'll put him above average. He's been having a really good year. His offensive line isn't the greatest, but he's been doing a good job at getting the ball to playmakers. I mean, he has been struggling a little more recently with not an amazing running game, but he is like better than like Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, people like that. Next is Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in football. Simple as that. Very good throwing for football and running for football. So all in all, a good player. Next is Justin Fields. Think with the right coaching, he can be an above average player. But since we really have not seen a ton of consistency, I'll put him in average for now. His career's kind of been up and down, and I'll just wait and see how he goes. So next is Joe Flacco, and at this point in time, really is not that good of a player. I mean, he used to be a starter, but now he's just not that good anymore. Next we have Jared Goff. I'll put him in the average category. I mean, this at some times this season he has played pretty well, but other times not so much, and has not really shown the consistency of an above average quarterback yet. Next we have Justin Herbert. I'll put him in the franchise QB category. Not quite like Josh Allen, whatever. Not quite like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but definitely top 10, if not top 5. We have Dak Prescott, who since the draft in 2016 has played really well. The weak category I reserve for like the cream of the crop, and he isn't quite that, but he's still a really good player. So we have Jalen Hurts, and I'm not going to quite put him in the elite category, just because this is the first year of him really dominating. But if he continues the pace he is at for a few years, I can definitely see him going into the elite category. So next we have Kyler Murray. So I will put him in the above average category. Not quite the consistency of a franchise quarterback quite yet, but he is most definitely a good player. So, and with Jimmy Garoppolo, he has been consistently a solid player, like better than like the average player. Put him like in the bottom of this, but he has played well with a good system designed for him. He has good weapons around him, a good running game, a good offensive line, and he has excelled so far. So next is Jordan Love. I'm going to put him in the future starter category because I believe he will get an opportunity to start in the NFL, and we really haven't seen like anything from him. So next we have Jameis Winston. So he did good last year and has been good at times. Also not quite the consistency to be a starter. Put him in the average category, probably because I could put Baker and Carson Wentz in that category. So next is Kirk Cousins, who has played pretty well for the Vikings. Put him in the above average category. Can do like 30 to 35 touchdowns a year. I don't really think he is quite a franchise QB quite yet, but still a very good player. Next we have Kellen Mond, I think. I believe that's Kellen Mond for the Vikings. He really did not get that much of opportunity in the NFL, and I really don't think he ever will. So put him in the backup category. Next is Kenny Pickett. I'll put him in the average category. He has looked okay at times. Other times he's had problems with interceptions, but he's still a rookie. So we'll put him in the average category for now, but plenty of his career still to go. Next is Lamar Jackson. Put him in the above average category. Probably about here in above average category. But Kyle ahead of him also. So at the beginning of the year, truly an MVP candidate, but before his injury, for the majority of the season, just was not amazing. Truly don't think he's quite good enough to be a franchise QB. Next is Matt Ryan. Put him in the blitz QB category. I mean, he had a few okay games, but that's not that good. Not quite good enough to be like an average starter anymore. For Falcons for a while he was good, but now he's just not really that good at all. So next we have Matt Corral, rookie for the Panthers. Hasn't had it in playing time. Will likely get some playing time in the future. So put him in future starter category. Next is Mac Jones. Put him like the average category. It's not really that impressive. A boring QB. Not really a QB that can win your games. Not really lose your games. After with a good defense, good running game, he can be okay. So we have a Mariota category. He's in the blitz QB tier. So he's not quite a backup, but can be a starter for a team in a rebuild with a good running game, and you don't throw it with him that much. He can not lose your games. He's never really going to win your games. Next is Matthew Stafford. Last year I would have put him in the franchise QB tier, but really did not do amazing this year. I mean, that wasn't really his fault entirely. Didn't really have an offensive line, and outside of Cooper Kupp, didn't really have a ton of receiving options. But don't really think he's franchise QB tier, really. Next is Mitch Trubisky. Put him also in the better QB tier. Think he has done okay, but not really material to really be a consistent starter. He can start like a few games for you, or can be the starter for a rebuilding team. So next we have Malik Willis. He is a future starter, a rookie this year. Started a few games this year, not that impressive, but he will get a starter, well, in the league eventually. Next I think this is Nick Mullins. He is a backup. Have not been really impressed by him that much. Next is Patrick Mahomes, who just like Josh Allen, one of the best QBs in football. No one else really rivals how good they are. Best two QBs in football. Next is Ryan Tannehill. Put him like at the very best of like average QBs. I mean, does not have a ton to work with and been okay. Don't think he's close to above average. I mean, probably a top 20 quarterback, but not really someone you can really rely on game down the line. Next is Russell Wilson, who his time in Seattle, he played well, but for Broncos he's struggled. He's just like been like a mid quarterback. Not a ton of help. Not really a running game. Not really receivers. But in a really bad situation with bad coaching. Not in a good situation like at all, but he has not done very well in that situation. I'll put him in average. Next, we have Sam Darnold, who has won a lot for the Panthers this year, but hasn't really done a ton, so he's an average QB. Not really that remarkable. Next is Tom Brady. I will put him in above average category. So he has played not very well this year. He does not have that great of a running game. His running game's been inconsistent. The defense is inconsistent at times. Not that good of an offensive line. And his receiving core just has been underperforming this year. So, all in all, he's an above average quarterback. Not quite a franchise QB, I would say. But in a better situation, he could definitely play better. Next, I believe this is Teddy Bridgewater. This is actually a really old picture of him. I'll say he can be a bridge QB. He can play decent for a few games, but not quite starting level, but better than a backup also. Next is Taylor Heineke. He's just an average QB, not really remarkable. Has been winning for the Commanders, but has not really been playing out well. We have Tyler Huntley next. He has not really been that remarkable. I mean, these last 2 years he's had a few chances to start when Lamar has been injured, but he has not really done much with that. He's truly a backup QB. We have Trey Lance next. With injuries, he has not really gotten a true chance to start in NFL. And we just need a bigger sample size to really determine how good he is. Next, we have Trevor Lawrence, and he is definitely a franchise quarterback. Better coaching this year, and it showed. He has played very well with big wins over the Ravens and the Cowboys, for example. That's pretty much been solidified his spot as a franchise quarterback for the Jaguars. Next, I believe this is Tyler Taylor. And I believe he is a bridge quarterback, a little bit better than a backup per se. He can have a few good games and not lose games, and could be a good bridge QB for like a rebuilding team. So next, I believe this is Tua. Say he's an above average QB, but I wouldn't say he's quite a franchise QB. He started the season very well, but recently he's just been not that great since the Niners game, and now he has a concussion, so probably out for the rest of the year. I'm not sure what his future holds. Next, we have Zach Wilson, who has not been that good this year. I'm not sure who isn't going to have a chance, but I put him in for bridge QB tier for now. So yeah, those are my rankings, and for about 40 QBs, and yeah, that's all. I'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye!